Hello everyone, it's Lindsay and we're back for a Tip Tuesday. It's been a minute since I've had a Tip Tuesday. We talked about this one a couple weeks ago when I did the unboxing of the Big Story kit from Illustrated Faith. I'll link that video down below. I believe that the kit is sold out, but you can still get the digital ephemera and things. But for those of you who got the physical kit and have the stamp set, many of you were asking for a Tip Tuesday about some of the different ways to use the layering pieces in this stamp set. So this set up here can all be layered, as you can see right here. You just stamp the solid circle and then you can stamp these pieces in that solid circle, either offset or tone on tone like I did here, or in a contrasting color is going to give you a variety of looks with those. You can use the circle just by itself. You can use these just by itself, but they do fit to be layered. I am using all Gina K inks for today's video, and those color swatches are over on the blog post that I did for the unboxing, as well as on my Instagram post, with the photo for Big Story has the colors that I'm using in case you're wondering about that. This set also has this layering element here. It's a little spool of thread, so you can stamp the spool and then the thread over the top. I mean, you can also use them independent of each other as a texture or something like that. And just by changing the color combination gives you, different looks with that stamp. So I'm going to be showing you a whole lot of different ways to use this stamp. It's definitely not all of the ways or all of the combinations, but I wanted to give you some ideas and also encourage you to do something like I've done here, where I've stamped out several combinations. That way, as I'm working with the stamp set, I can pull these out and look at the different combinations to get the look that I want on the page or the traveler's notebook or the project or whatever I'm working on with the stamp set. So you can make simple borders. So I've already gone ahead and loaded up the different stamps on my blocks. And so I'm going to consistently use these colors through the stamping and swatches. That way you can identify which stamp is which. So this squarish one is the pink. This smaller little pokey one is the turquoise. This larger pokey one is yellow. And then just the square is kind of a mustardy color. So for here, I just line them up right against each other on the flat edge, but you can also turn the stamp just slightly and do it by the corners. It's going to give you a different look just by how you turn the stamp. And you'll see that as you create patterns and quilt patterns with the stamp set, just by rotating the stamp gives you a totally different look. Same thing for the little pokey blue one. If you do the smaller pokies up next to each other, you have this strip here. And then if you do the wider, section, it's going to give you a different look. So again, just by turning that stamp gives you a different look. And then same thing goes for the larger pokey, whether you are lining up the smaller V's or the larger V's, is going to give you a different pattern. And then you can also just do a simple diamond pattern with that square shape. So let's take this to the next level. Let's start layering these and getting different looks. So I've already gone ahead and pre-stamped out a few, and then we are going to show you some different combinations that you can do. So on this pink one, if I take the smaller pokey one, we're going to do this in turquoise. So I can either stamp this to perfectly fit within that stamp, and my stamping isn't going to be perfect because I'm not going to stick my head in the camera, but it will perfectly fit into those little empty spots in the inside. Or I can turn it just a little bit. I'm going to have to stick my head in there to get this just right here. That's going to give me a different look. And you'll see as you start building groupings of patterns, you're going to get some different looks as you group those together. So there is the little pokey blue one. Let's do the pokey yellow one. So if we layer, this is sweet corn that I'm using here. This is the larger little starburst. So again, I can line this up just like that, and it's going to fit within the little V shapes. Or I can turn this and get my head in there, and it's just going to give me a little bit different of a look. And you can layer multiple of these. So I could go in with the blue and layer that in there as well, and that's going to give it just a little bit of a different look. Okay, with this square one, this is kind of a dark color for this. I might use something a little bit lighter, but again, you can go in regular square is going to fit in there, or turning it into a diagonal is going to give it a different look. Now, if you use a lighter color, it's going to let some of that underneath stamping show a little bit differently. So now for this one here, we can layer things a little bit differently. So let's do a little yellow piece here. So I can go straight on, and you're going to get that look. Or I can turn this so that my square is kind of a diamond shape. Totally different look just by turning the stamp. And again, as you begin to butt things together and layer them up, it's just going to grow and look more and more different. The square kind of cancels this out if I stamp it in this dark color. So let me go, let's say let go a lighter look color, but I don't want to change up the colors for you guys. So I want you to be able to look back and see. So I can stamp that just like that. Or I can turn it into more of a diamond shape. And it's going to give me a different look. Now, I've already done the 2 different looks with the pink, so we're not going to do that there. Okay, now for this one here, we've already done the yellow. So we can go directly into that square shape, or you can turn it as a diamond and stamp. That gets a different look. If we wanted to start layering things up, so let's say we want multiples here. So we'll stamp the pink on there. And also depending on what order you stamp, sometimes it'll give you a different look. Okay, and then we can fit this directly in there. Let's do a little bit different here. So you can see just by turning it a quarter turn. So this one. Go there. Go in with the blue. And we'll do this one at a quarter turn. Totally different look, same 3 stamps. So as you can see, there's just some examples of turning it. Now let's talk about same thing, just turning them and then butting them together is going to give you a different look. So here is the large piece in this configuration, and then just by turning it a quarter turn, you get this pattern. You could stamp it all in the same color. And then again, as you start layering in the different pieces here, it's going to give you some variance to this pattern. So you can go in and just start stamping and creating kind of a quilt shape. I'm really roughly, really messily going in there and doing that, but you can see how that starts to grow out. So same thing here with the larger starburst. So whether I am butting up the larger V or the smaller V, it's going to give you a different pattern. And then you can see this square does fit into here. Here, it's going to give you a little bit of a border, so it's going to look a little different. Let me stamp that, and you can see what that looks like. So it's going to have a little bit of a border versus here, it perfectly fits into that square shape. So if you stamped all of this in pink and then maybe teal, it's going to give you a different look. Same thing for this one here. That square will fit in there, and it's going to be a little bit big for there, so it'll give you kind of a layered effect. Let me do blue. And then you can start building this square quilt. With your starburst. So I know that that is super quick. I would encourage you to sit down and try different combinations with this. Here you can see just using that small starburst and the large plus sign one, you can get it much simpler. Here's actually 3 stamps, so that it does have that yellow larger starburst in there. and then the smaller starburst. Here's a combination with just the starburst. And again, rotating those a quarter turn will give you a totally different look. Here's mixing the squares, that plus sign, and the larger starburst is going to give you all of that variety. So I know that that's a quick Tip Tuesday, and I know it's not showing you too much because really I think honestly to get the most out of the stamp set, you need to sit down and make your own sheets like this where you're trying different combinations, different rotations to get these different quilted patterns. Really with just, 1, 2, 3, 4 stamps, the combinations are pretty much endless how you combine those, the colors that you used, you know, how you're layering them, things like that. You can see this is starting to come through and show as that ink dries. You can kind of see those under layers poking through. So if you have any questions, be sure to leave those down below. Like I said, this stamp set I believe is sold out. I don't know if they'll be restocking it in the shop, but for those of you who do have the stamp set, I want to just give you some ideas for some different ways to use it. I did a process video, I will link it down below, where I didn't create a quilted pattern. I kind of created just some loose individual pieces like this rather than, you know, creating a quilt. So you can kind of see that as well. So I'll link that down below. But again, if you have any questions, leave those. Check out those links for the inks and things like that down below. Give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful in any way for you as you start to use this stamp set. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.